Hi, thanks for joining me today. What if you've stepped back from the parenting role in your stepfamily, but things are still bad? Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know every time I post. One of the most distressing things about being a step-parent can be watching a child be entitled or spoilt. And my advice is, if you do your best with the parent, helping them to co-parent, but it's not welcome, then the next step is to step back, because otherwise you get caught in the crossfire in the middle, and the child will be able to cause arguments between you and your partner by dividing you, and your partner will think that you're getting in the way of them parenting their child. It's really complicated because the parent often has very difficult mixed emotions about the way they want to parent their child, especially after a divorce or a death, where they sort of want to make up to the child for what's gone on in the past and indulge them slightly, or not hold them to account, or not keep rules, or not insist on things, or indeed the child's other family, other parent, their ex-partner may be in making it difficult for them. So there's lots of very big difficulties here. But at the end of the day, as a step-parent, normally you can be more objective because you weren't involved at the beginning, and you can see what's going on, and you can see how damaging it can be for the child, how it's not right, how your partner, the parent, is struggling, how things are really not working out well. And you really have the family's best interests at heart. You have your partner's best interests and the child. The child only has this one childhood, and you can see how it could be being much better for the child. So the question is, what can you do about it as the step-parent? Well, the first thing is to really take on board that this is not your child. And not that that makes you any less motivated to try and put things right, but that the point there is that it's not your child to bring up. This is not your responsibility, and it's not for you to decide how the child is being parented. So you do have to keep out of those kinds of parenting decisions your partner is making and let it happen. But this can be extremely difficult when you're in close proximity to what's going on in the home. But if you get into the fray, then all that'll happen is that you will begin to fall out with your partner about the child, and then you're into whether your partner is going to side with you or side with the child, and the whole thing becomes really testing. So it's not your child, it's not your responsibility. So keep yourself out. Now that might mean you making some changes to your life so that you can retain a relationship with your partner in a perfectly okay way and allow what's happening to go on. Now, maybe this isn't possible for you, in which case moving out is an option. But if you can get to a position where you can ring fence yourself to a place where you can be perfectly okay living alongside this situation whilst your partner parents their child, and live like that. Then, when there are circumstances when you are with the child on your own and maybe have responsibility for that child over a period of time, maybe you're taking them somewhere, or maybe you're doing stuff together, or maybe they're in the house alone with you without their parent, it is possible, with their parents' permission, check out any rule that you want to enforce, but to set some expectations with the child by telling them clearly and making sure they fully understand exactly what you mean by what you say, that you can set some rules and expectations that are to be met when you're in charge. And that is worth doing, because that's good for the child too. And they get a little bit of understanding that they've got to meet your expectations. Don't be draconian with punishments if they don't meet your expectations. Better to reward expectations that are being met handsomely than to punish severely expectations that are not met. If you make an expectation and they're not met, then a consequence is good, but something that's pretty immediate and that the child can't affect. And the other person with whom to instill a little bit of discipline is perhaps your partner, where your partner's all over the place trying to please their child, child's not behaving. Lay down a few expectations for your partner too. I mean, if your stepchild can't behave when they're out, you're not going out with your stepchild. Talk through expectations in terms of politeness, timeliness, keeping things tidy, offering to help, whatever it is. Have a go at setting some expectations for your partner in the impact of their parenting on you. And sometimes this might mean saying no to your partner if you're not going to prepare to take them somewhere or collect them from school or do something. Maybe it's a no with your partner. It's their child. They take responsibility for the parenting whilst you can't agree with their parenting style. These are hard conversations to have, but what you're fighting for is the survival of your relationship. Because if it becomes too intolerable for you, the relationship is not going to survive, is it? And your aim here, as the step-parent, is to make things better as time progresses. So watch yourself. Watch that you don't get drawn in to doing more, it costing you more, everything's sliding and getting worse. What you're aiming for is for you to keep your distance, let the parent parent, but then ultimately, as the months turn into years, each year represents an improvement on how the child is managed and how the child is behaving. And for this, you need to look ahead a little bit all the time and see the obstacles coming up. So if you've got a holiday planned, talk to your partner about your expectations for that holiday in advance, and talk to the stepchild in advance about your expectations for that holiday, and reward expectations that are met, and take a dim view of the expectations that aren't. All the future things that you've planned, that you've got in mind, needs to be anticipated by you so that you can make them get a little bit better and the situation doesn't get a little bit worse. Because in my experience of this kind of thing is that if the parent and the child have got a sort of non-constructive parenting arrangement whereby the child is becoming more and more spoiled, that can go the wrong way, and it can get a lot worse and become more and more impossible. And what you've got to do is not agree to that and make things get better by planning in advance and seeing ahead what's coming up. So you've got to keep making things better, not worse. And that also means using the fact that the child is growing up and getting older and can take more responsibility for themselves, and things going on around in their school, the community, anything to help get your situation to be better. You're looking for improvements. It's not easy, and it's not fun, and it's not what you'd expected either, and you've walked into this. But it is a job worth doing. We run workshops, sessions, an email response service, and we write booklets. Look at the description box below for links to our social media and website.